Hello and warm regards from Next IAS team. In today's session of daily news analysis, we are going to cover following topics. The first topic is World Happiness Report of 2025. It has been released recently. Second topic will be Swadesh Darshan Scheme. Third topic AFSPA Act. Then fourth topic will be Information Technology Act of 2000. And lastly, from the editorial discussion, we are going to take up the topic of big tech monopolies. The first topic that we have is World Happiness Report of 2025. Now, this topic is relevant from the issues of social development topic. And this is a news why? Because Finland for the 8th time has topped this World Happiness Report. So this year also we are having Finland at the top position. Second position is occupied by Denmark, then Iceland, Sweden, Netherlands, and Costa Rica and Mexico have come under the top 10 for the first time. And for the fourth time, Afghanistan is again at the last position. The last or the worst performing members have been Zimbabwe, Malawi, Lebanon, Sierra Leone, and Afghanistan. And Afghanistan is at the bottom of the list for the fourth consecutive year. Now, this report is released by University of Oxford's Wellbeing Research Centre in collaboration with Gallup and United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. Gallup actually organizes surveys, and these surveys are used for generating this report. Now, in this report, how it is generated? This report is generated on the basis of people's self-assessed life evaluations. So, the feedback from the people is taken, and based upon that feedback, the report is being generated that which country is how much happy. Now, data is being collected by Gallup World Poll since 2005. And this data is analyzed by independent experts who generate this report. Now, each variable measures the population weighted average score on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 means unhappiest and 10 means happiest. So, the scale used here is from 0 to 10. Now, in the life evaluation, what are the various parameters that are being taken up? In life evaluation, first one is social support. That is, the first parameter is social support. It is the presence of reliable social networks and relationships. That means when you are feeling lonely, how much social support you are getting. That comes under social support. Second is GDP per capita. GDP per capita is taking the economic aspect here. So it is the economic output per person indicating wealth distribution in the particular country. So this is the second factor. The third factor is health and life expectancy. The average duration of lifespan in the good health. That is the third factor for the happiness part. Now, fourth one is freedom. The degree of personal freedom and political liberties that the citizens are having. That is the fourth parameter here. Then fifth one is generosity. Generosity means that willingness to give and share with others. When we are giving and we are sharing with others, then it is creating social capital in the country. So, generosity is the fifth factor here. And last factor is perception of corruption. In the public view, how much the government is corrupt. If the public perception about corruption is that the government is not corrupt, that means they are having trust in the government. Whereas, if the public perception is that the government is corrupt or the system is corrupt, that means the people are losing faith or trust in the governance system. So, that is the last attribute of the life evaluation parameters. So, on basis of these 6 parameters, the self-assessed reports are generating that people give responses on these parameters and they tell how much happy they are. So, based upon the cumulative assessment of these life evaluators, the World Happiness Report is generated. Now, how has India performed in this report? If we see, India has a score of 4.389 and which has actually increased from last year. And the rank has also improved. It is 118 this year. However, it is surprising fact that India is still lagging behind countries like Ukraine, Mozambique, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Palestine, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Gambia and Venezuela in terms of happiness. That means these countries, in spite of being under conflict zone, in spite of being under economic distress, are still, the people are still feeling that they are happy in these countries. And if we compare with the neighboring countries, Afghanistan, as we have already said, it is at the last position. Then Nepal, it is at 92nd position. Last year it was at 93rd position, so it has also improved. Pakistan, it has also improved. India is at 118 and Pakistan is at 109th position. That's why this report is being also questioned, that are the parameters for this report right or wrong? Because in spite of Pakistan facing so much issues and so much problems, the people are feeling themselves to be happy there. Then next is Sri Lanka. It is below the India's ranking, and Bangladesh, it is also below India's ranking. So Nepal and Pakistan have scored better rank in terms of World Happiness Report as compared to India. Now, in the past few years, how has India performed? So India has actually been increasing its rank in this World Happiness Report. From 136 in 2022, the report is now highlighting that India has improved by 18 ranks in 2025. So in last 4 years, we have improved by 18 ranks in this World Happiness Report. Now, based upon this, you can attempt the MCQ present on the screen and you can post your answers in the comment box. Now, the next topic that we are having is that the panel flags shoddy implementation of Center Flagship Tourism Scheme. What is this flagship tourism scheme here? We are talking about, it is about the Swadesh Darshan Scheme. So the members of the Public Account Committee or PAC have flagged shoddy implementation of the Swadesh Darshan Scheme. This topic is relevant from Indian polity point of view and government schemes point of view. Now, according to this, what is the findings? The CAG in its report has pointed out that the Swadesh Darshan Scheme has been facing issues with respect to formulation as well as execution. For example, there have been lack of feasibility studies while implementing the scheme. The assessment was not properly done. That's why there is lack of feasibility studies while implementing the scheme. Second is that there have been approval issues also. There have been incomplete documentation. There was regulatory non-compliances also. There were instances of having regulatory non-compliances. Then there was another issue. The another issue was of the budget overruns. There was poor planning and resource misallocation that was pointed out in the CAG report. The next was there was project delays and incompletion also. For example, the timelines were extended. There were unfinished projects also that should have been finished earlier, and it has actually led to budget overruns. There are certain projects that have been stalled, for example, Kavadia route in Bihar, then tribal circuit in Telangana, then Sri Narayan Guru Ashram in Kerala. These are projects that are still pending in the execution phase. Now, last one is there is no formal evaluation also. The evaluation process is very unstructured, there is no formality in it, and there is lack of oversight also in the implementation of the scheme. That's why there have been misallocation and poor resource planning that has been pointed out by the CAG. Now, something about this Swadesh Darshan Scheme. The nodal agency for this scheme is Ministry of Tourism, and it was launched in the year 2014. The objective was to develop tourism facilities under thematic circuits. That means we are going to develop some circuits which are going to have some themes, and by developing those thematic circuits, we are going to improve the tourism infrastructure. The objective was to theme-based tourist routes that we have to develop. Now, under this, there were 76 projects that were sanctioned, and the resource allocated was 5,287.90 crores. Now, there has been a new revamped scheme also, which is known as Swadesh Darshan 2.0. Under this, there was focus on sustainable and responsible tourism. The words are important here: sustainable and responsible tourism. Under this, 34 projects were sanctioned with the allocation of 791.25 crore rupees. Also, there was one more element, that is challenge-based destination development, in which 42 destinations were identified and 5 destinations were related with the vibrant village category. Now, next is, under this scheme itself, there is one portal that has been launched, that is known as Incredible India Digital Platform. This platform was launched on 27 September 2024. It is a comprehensive tourism resource which provides a digital repository with high quality images, films, brochures and newsletters to those who are willing to travel. they can be bloggers, they can be tourists, they can be the service providers also. So it provides a whole digital repository about a certain place where the tourists want to go. Along with it, to personalize the visitor's experience, the real-time weather updates will be provided, the city exploration updates will be provided, then essential travel services will also be provided. For providing essential travel services, there have been partnership with the online travel agents and stakeholders for seamless booking of flights, hotels, cabs, buses, ASI monument tickets, etc. So the overall objective of this incredible India digital platform is to make the experience of the tourist a better one. Next is, what are the circuits that have been identified? So there have been 15 thematic circuits that were identified under this scheme. These are Buddhist circuit, coastal circuit, desert circuit, eco circuit, heritage circuit, Himalayan circuit, Krishna circuit, northeast circuit, Ramayana circuit, rural circuit, spiritual circuit, Sufi circuit, Tirantkar circuit, and tribal circuit. So it is a holistic scheme for covering every section of tourism. Now, something about the Public Accounts Committee also. The Public Accounts Committee is a standing committee. It is a parliamentary committee which is a standing parliamentary committee, and it was first established in 1921 under Government of India Act of 1919. Now currently there are 22 members in this parliamentary account committee, and 15 members come from Lok Sabha and 7 members come from Rajya Sabha. So this committee comprises of both Lok Sabha members as well as Rajya Sabha members. How these members are going to be elected? So these members will be elected by the parliament itself through proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. So the method will be proportional representation by single transferable vote. What has to be the qualifications? The qualifications include, the person should be a member of parliament. So in the Public Accounts Committee, only member of parliaments can be its members. Second, any minister cannot be a member of PAC. So ministers are not qualified to be members of PAC. This you should be remembering. Third thing is that the term. So the term is 1 year, and the chairman of this Public Account Committee, it is appointed by the speaker, and speaker appoints the chairman among the members itself. And there has been a convention also, because the work of the Public Account Committee is to scrutinize the government's work. So that's why the member from 1967, there has been a convention that the chairman of this Public Account Committee will be from the opposition party only. The member will not be from the government side or from the party that is in the ruling position. Now next is, what are the functions of this Public Account Committee? The Public Account Committee examines the annual audit reports of CAG. It examines the public expenditure from both legal and formal viewpoints to highlight technical irregularities along with economic prudence, wisdom, and propriety. It identifies any kind of waste, losses, corruption, inefficiency, and unnecessary expenses. Next, it is assisted by CAG. That's why CAG is also known as friend, philosopher, and guide to the Public Account Committee. So it is the Public Account Committee for which the CAG actually is given this term known as friend, philosopher, and guide. So CAG is the friend, philosopher, and guide to the Public Account Committee. Now next thing is that there have been some limitations also with respect to Public Account Committee's working. First and foremost is that its role is actually advisory in nature. So it can only recommend that there has been some issues. It cannot take corrective measures. Secondly, the recommendation that it is giving or the analysis that the PAC is doing, it is actually post-partum examination. That is after the expenditure has occurred. It is not before that. So it is not able to take any preventive measures. It is only highlighting what have been the major flaws in the expenditure. Next is, it is not concerned about question of policy in broader sense. It is mainly saying that whether the expenditure was done correctly or not. Next is that it cannot intervene in day-to-day administration also. So again, it is not able to take any corrective measures. Then there is no power of disallowance of expenditure by the departments. Even if Public Account Committee have pointed out that the expenditure done was not in a technical manner, was not technically sound, even then also it does not have any power to withhold the expenditure of that particular department. So that power is also not with the Public Account Committee. Lastly, it is not an executive body, so it cannot issue any orders. It is very much obvious because it has an advisory role here. Now, based upon the discussion about this particular topic and Public Account Committee, you have one question and you can attempt this question and post your answers in the comment box. Now, the next article that we are having is about X Corp challenges content blocking orders, opposes Center's censorship portal. So, it is in the backdrop that X Corp, which was previously Twitter Inc., challenged the content blocking orders and opposed Center's Yog portal. This is relevant from the Indian polity and governance point of view. Now, something about the news. X Corp, or formerly Twitter, has challenged the union and state government orders on content blocking in the Karnataka High Court. And it has also alleged that the center's Sahyog portal, which objective of which was to improve the coordination with the intermediary platforms, that is Twitter, Facebook, Meta, with these platforms to block any kind of content that can be against the public order. It has said that this Sahyog portal is actually a censorship portal, and it has requested the Karnataka High Court to ensure that any case, that any order with respect to blocking of the content should be passed or should be given under the section 69A of the IT Act of 2000. However, the present trend is that the orders are being issued under section 79 3B for blocking of the content. So to summarize, it is saying that first of all, this Sahyog portal has become a censorship portal. Secondly, any order that has to be given for blocking any content on the platforms and social media platforms, should be given under section 69A. And Twitter or X Corp has actually opposed any order given under section 79 3B. So in this article, we have to study what is section 69A, what is section 79 3B. Now, first of all, let's move to the section 79 of IT Act of 2000. Now, this section says that the liability of the intermediary. Who is intermediary? Intermediaries are social media platforms. These are social media platforms. So it says that it is going to protect the intermediaries from liability of the third party content that they host. It simply means that if I am putting some content on Twitter or some content on WhatsApp or some content on any other social media platform, and that particular media platform is not modifying that content, then the liability of that platform, that is Twitter or Facebook, will not be there. It means that a person is putting a content on any social media platform, and social media platform is not modifying that content and it is presenting that content as it is, then the liability for that particular content will be on the person, not on the social media platform. So this 79 article was, this is what the section 79 was saying. So it is actually providing a safe harbor. So this section was known as safe harbor protection if they act only as facilitator without modifying the content. I hope you have understood that. Now, second is there is an exception to this safe harbor protection also, that is given under section 79 3B. Now, this section says that if it has been pointed out to the social media platform that this particular content is against public order, and the social media platform is not acting upon that particular direction, then the social media platform will become liable for the action. So that's what the challenge is. The social media platforms are saying that under section 9, it means to protect us, but now it is being used to target us. Why it is being targeted? Because it is saying that under section 9(3)(b), if a particular social media platform has been given, or it has been told to them that this particular content should be removed because it is against public order, and it is not removing that particular content, then the social media platform it will be liable for the penal actions. So this particular section says that protection is lost if intermediaries fail to remove the unlawful content thereafter receiving actual knowledge of its illegality and being notified by government or its agency. So orders under section 9 do not mandate direct blocking but holds platform liable for illegal content. Now next is the section 69A of IT Act. Now under this section, the government can allow blocking of information from public access of particular content which goes against sovereignty and integrity of the country, which goes against defense of the country, security of the country, or is affecting the foreign relations of our country with any other nation, or is against public order, or is offensive in nature. So in these cases, the government can block any kind of information from public access. Now, while putting this, while exercising its power under section 69A, there is a proportionality test that has to be done. This proportionality test says that the order which is passed, it should actually pass the following criteria. First of all, it should be legitimate. It should be having a legitimate objective. That is, the restrictions must serve a clear and valid purpose. That is the first thing. Second criteria is that it should be there should be a rational connection also. There must be a direct link between the restrictions and the objective that is being pursued. Third is it should be necessary to pass such an order, that the restriction should be essential with no less restrictive alternative. That means any other alternative is not available, then only you can pass such order. Lastly, the extent of restriction must be balanced against its importance. That is, proportionality must be ensured there. So the test of proportionality has to be passed while putting any order under section 69A. Also, there are certain procedural safeguards. The safeguards are the order should be well reasoned, and well reasoned order must be issued. That means that reason should be clearly identified there. Along with that, it should be given notice to both the intermediary as well as the content originator. That means the content originator is also liable, along with the intermediary is also liable here. So both are liable under this act, under this section. Now, what are the concerns with section 69A? The concerns basically include, first of all, it allows the central government and its officers to impose restrictions through executive orders. And these executive orders are actually bureaucratic orders. They do not undergo public scrutiny. So that is the one issue, that is the lack of transparency here. Also, there are some terms which are ambiguous in nature. For example, security and integrity of the country. It is a vague term and it is open to broad interpretation. So that is another challenge with respect to the section 69A. Now, what are the important judgments in this regard? One important case is there, that is Shreya Singhal versus Union of India in 2015. It is a landmark judgment. It has actually struck down the section 66A of IT Act. It has said that it was unconstitutional and was void from thereon, and it was in violation of the freedom of speech under Article 19(1)(a). So this section 66A was struck down through this particular judgment. Next, under section 79A, it has actually mellowed down. It has actually watered it down. It says that the intermediaries have to remove the content only while receiving an order from a court or a government authority. That means if a private citizen is telling an intermediary that this content is not good, then the intermediary is not liable for that. It is through the government only, when the communication goes to the intermediaries that this particular content is not in congruence with the public order, then only the intermediary have to remove that particular content. So that is the section 69A interpretation by the Shreya Singhal case. Now, one particular thing that comes to our mind is that we have two sections, section 69A and section 79. Now, under section 69A, both the content originator, who is creating the content, as well as intermediary, both are liable. While under section 79, particularly the 1B, 3B section here, the intermediary becomes liable here. Now, the issue is that the content is moving so fast on the social media, it is getting so viral so quickly that to point out where it has originated becomes very difficult for any government. So that's why the government is now relying upon section 79 3B. Secondly, the Sahyog portal that was created, its objective was to automate the process of issuing notices to intermediaries under IT Act 2000, facilitates removal or blocking of content used for unlawful activities. Now, the objective was to establish a framework for preventing, detecting, investigating and prosecuting cyber crimes, to make it very fast. The vision was to ensure a safe cyberspace for Indian citizens, and functionality it enables all government agencies. Any government agency can, it includes union ministries, local police issuing blocking orders using the standard government template. So this Sahyog portal is actually providing a standard government template, and the government agencies can in a very fast manner point out to the intermediaries that this particular content should be immediately removed. So this Sahyog portal is actually fastening up the process of tackling any kind of content which can create public nuisances. Now, based upon this discussion, you are in the position to attempt the MCQ present on the screen. So please attempt the MCQ and post in the comment box. Now, next article that we have is about AFSPA. So, Army is seeking inclusion of additional areas in Manipur under AFSPA. Manipur, as we know, is undergoing a turmoil, security turmoil, where there is a constant violence that is happening in the state. So, to effectively curb down this violence, the Army has requested that more areas should be included under AFSPA so that they can effectively control the situation there. So, the backdrop here is a review meeting chaired by the Union Home Minister, regarding the possibility of bringing additional areas in Manipur under AFSA if required was deliberated. And this topic becomes relevant from the Indian polity and governance topic point of view. Let's see what is the news. The Army proposed bringing 12 additional police stations limits in Manipur Valley under AFSA for operational efficiency. The final decision will be taken by MHA. Now, President's rule was imposed on February 13, 2025, and AFSA was reimposed in Manipur on November 14, 2024 in the 6 police stations across 5 districts due to ethnic violence. So, Manipur is burning in the ethnic violence. That's why the Army is asking that please allow AFSA to be imposed in further more police station areas so that we can effectively control the situation. Now, something about this AFSA, Armed Forces Special Power Act of 1958. Now, what is the origin here? The origin is that it was originally promulgated by British in response to the Quit India movement of 1942. However, after independence, it was decided to retain the act because this act will be important for us. Why? We had a 1947 partition violence, the violence regarding the partition. So, we needed an act where we can effectively control the violence in the country or in the particular area affected by it. So, it was first brought as an ordinance, then notified as an act in 1958. AFSA, enacted in the year 1958, grants extraordinary powers and immunity to the armed forces to bring back order in the disturbed areas. Next, what is the criteria for a disturbed area? A disturbed area will be an area where disturbance is due to differences or dispute between members of different religion, races, language, regional groups, caste or communities. That means where the violence is happening due to various reasons. And currently, AFSA is effective in certain states like Nagaland, Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. So, here the AFSA is still being imposed. Now, next, what are the provisions with respect to AFSA? So, the one provision is Section 3. Section 3 says the governor of a state or UT can declare area as to be a disturbed one. Once the governor declares it to be disturbed one, then AFSA can be implemented there, can be imposed there. Section 4 allows or gives power to search premises and arrest without any warrant. And the army can also open fire to maintain the public order under the AFSPA Act. Next is Section 7. It allows for persecution. It says that persecution of any person under who has served under AFSPA will need prior sanction from the central government. So in a way, it is providing legal immunity for their actions in the disturbed areas to the armed forces or security forces. So security forces, for doing any action in an area which is under AFSPA Act, is prevented from legal scrutiny, or is provided legal immunity there. Now next is, what is the rationale behind this AFSPA Act? The rationale behind is effective functioning of the forces in the counter-insurgency or terrorist operation. There are security threats on the security agencies. So to effectively deliver their duties, they need certain kind of immunity in these areas. So it is for the protection of the members of the armed forces in maintaining the law and order, and improving the security and sovereignty of the country. Now there have been some criticisms also, because there are allegations of atrocities and human right violations by the security agencies. Along with that, it also goes against the democratic rights and fundamental rights. So it is going against the democratic regime as well as the fundamental rights of the country. Also, it is ineffective in countering insurgency, because we have seen that use of force under AFSPA is not actually improving the situation. So these have been the criticisms of the AFSPA Act. Now there have been certain committees and certain judgments regarding the AFSPA. There was Justice Jeevan Reddy Committee of 2005, then Santosh Hegde Committee of 2013, then second ARC 5th report of 2007. All these have voted against AFSPA. They have said that requirement of AFSPA is not there. We should have some other alternative measures. However, the judgment of Supreme Court is counter to these recommendations. In 1997, a 5-judge bench, constitutional bench, has unanimously upheld the law. They have said this law is constitutional. It says that deployment of armed forces is for only temporary period. Secondly, the opinion of the state government taken to declare a disturbed region is very much correct here. Then there should be periodic review of the disturbed area, so that AFSPA Act is not being implemented for infinite time. Lastly, complaints about misuse and abuse of power must be inquired upon. So these are the safeguards that the Supreme Court has imposed while implementing the AFSPA Act. So Supreme Court has actually upheld the AFSPA Act, but with some safeguards. Now with this, you are in a position to attempt a MCQ present on the screen. Please attempt it and post your answers in the comment box. Now it's time for the editorial analysis. The article that we have right now is The Challenges of Policing Digital Giants. Now what is the backdrop for this? On November 18, 2024, CCI issued an order imposing fine of Rs 213.14 crore, forcing several behavior remedies on Meta. Now the problem with these digital giants is that these are able to control the data, and that actually raises two types of issues. One issue is with respect to data privacy. Second issue is with respect to the curbing of the competition. So that's why there are two entities that have to be involved here. One with respect to data privacy. Secondly, the Competition Commission of India, to enable a level playing field for all. Now let's see what this topic is all about. First of all, it is relevant from the polity and governance topic point of view. Now, before moving ahead, let's see what is the importance of the data. The data is a new oil. That is a popular phrase for the data. Why it is new oil? Because in this digital economy, data has limitless utility. It can be collected, analyzed and reused indefinitely. तो जितने बार भी आप डेटा को चाहो उतने बार यूज कर सकते हो. It can be collected, analyzed, as much more data you want, you can collect, you can analyze that data. It is playing a foundational role in digital markets, creating, sustaining the dominance. How it is doing so? The significance of data within business is that, first of all, it helps in making informed decision making. Why? Because first of all, you are able to analyze the trends, the customer behavior and market conditions. This helps in making a better decision. Second, the consumer insights and personalization. It enables targeted marketing, personalized recommendations, and improves the customer experience. So it is giving you a competitive advantage. Thirdly, operational efficiency. It optimizes the supply chains, resource allocation, and process automation is also enabled by the use of data. So it is helping in improving the efficiency of the operations. Next is competitive advantage. It provides market intelligence, identifies opportunities, and helps in businesses stay ahead of their other competitors. Now, other advantages are it helps in risk management also. It is able to detect the frauds, prevent the financial losses, and improves crisis management strategies. Next is the revenue growth. It enhances the sale forecasting, price strategies, and business expansion. So these are the important applications of using data. So this is a significance of data that we have. Next benefit is that it helps in innovation and product development. It helps in research, it helps in launching data-driven products. So it is also improving the innovation and product development. Lastly, it also helps in performance tracking. So it monitors employees' productivity, financial performance, and key performance indicators. So that's why the data is known as the new oil for the digital economy. One who is controlling the data is going to control the business in the coming times. So that's why data becomes very important for us. Now, these tech giants like Google, Meta, AT&T, so these are actually controlling the data. By controlling the data, they are creating monopolistic tendencies. That means that when they are having a huge amount of data, they are having a huge amount of advantage. And that's why new startups are not able to compete with them. Let's see, there have been some instances. For example, in India itself, there was a Google case in which a total penalty of 1,337.76 crores was imposed by CCI or Competition Commission of India on Google for abusing its dominant position across multiple markets, which were including Android OS, App Store, web search, mobile browsers, and video hosting. What it was doing? It was mandating the installation of Google apps. These Google apps were pre-installed on these devices, and they were performing better than the other applications. That's how the Google was monopolizing its advantage. So this fine, it was challenged by Google in the NCLAT also, and the national NCLAT it upheld the penalty imposed by CCI in 2023. Now this article, it is based upon the Meta. So Meta has also been fined by CCI with a rupees of 213.14 crore, and there is a 5-year ban on sharing of WhatsApp user data with Facebook and Instagram for the ads. So now there is a ban that WhatsApp cannot share its data with Facebook and Instagram. Along with it, there is a fine also that has been imposed upon it. And Facebook or Meta has moved to the NCLAT challenging this order. Now, in the legal appeal, Meta has challenged the decision in NCLAT, which granted a stay on the ban and fine and required a 50% penalty deposit. This was on 23rd January. Now, what is the issue? The issue is about the WhatsApp privacy policy. There has been a violation in this privacy policy. It says it is forcing the users to accept the expanded data sharing with Meta on a take it or leave it basis. That simply means that it has put some conditions. If you want to use the WhatsApp app, you have to share the data. If you are not agreeing to this, then you have to leave the app. You cannot use the WhatsApp app. And in the present scenario, WhatsApp has become a very essential app in our mobile phones. Many businesses are being run through WhatsApp itself. So this dominant position is being misutilized by the Meta for improving its Facebook and Instagram platforms. Now it is restricting competition. It is making it difficult for other messaging platforms to compete with it. Now at the global level, US has certain cases. For example, Meta, Google, AT&T, Microsoft, they have faced such kind of actions. The Meta, it is facing litigation for the anti-competitive acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. Google, it found violating the Sherman Act of 2025 for exclusive agreements in search and ads. AT&T, it was way back in 1984. It was forced to divest 22 companies to break the monopoly. Microsoft in 2001 was required to ensure fair API access to third parties also. So there have been prior instances also. In Europe and Australia, there's a case against Meta in which it has been penalized for merging user data without consent, violating EU norms and GDPR. Google, it was fined with 8 billion pounds for anti-competitive practices in mobile OS and app market. Australia, it is itself strengthening the regulations on digital platforms. So these tech giants are misusing their positions to monopolize the whole markets. Now, what are the concerns? What are the key concerns here? If they are monopolizing it, how it is affecting the market? How is it affecting the new players? Let's see that also. First of all, there are these anti-competitive practices like market lock-in. Google enforces pre-installed app. Meta's privacy policy limits users' choice. These are harmful. The self-preferencing, that is prioritizing their own products in search results and ad restricting competition. So these are proving to be anti-competitive practices. Next is data privacy issues. The excessive data collection and the opaque policies to exploit this data, it is actually affecting the data privacy, right to privacy of ours. Secondly, there is a risk of misuse also. Cross-platform data sharing increases profiling and manipulation risk as well. So this is the risk that is with the data sharing. Then there is digital advertising monopoly also. In the field of advertising also there is monopolization. The higher ad cost imposed by Google and Meta control over 60% of the digital ad revenue, and it strains the small businesses. So the startups are having a limited alternatives as opposed to these Google and Meta platforms. So they have a restricted access to the affordable advertisements, and it increases their operational cost, which proves to be harmful for these startups' health. Next is impact on innovation. Suppressing competition like acquiring, copying or sidelining the emerging startups. Then other things are entry barriers. They are putting up entry barriers as well. For example, network effects and exclusive deals hinder new players to come into the market. Only big players will be able to come into the market. Smaller players have no role to play in the market because of this data monopolization and the practices that are being done by these tech giants. Now, next is influence on public discourse. Algorithmic basis, controlling information access, shaping public opinion. So it is affecting the public opinion, it is manipulating the public opinion. Then fake news spread, misinformation is thriving due to the weak moderation effect. Then there are regulatory challenges also. There's weak oversight because government struggles to regulate the big tech effectively. They are having a lot of financial resources and other resources. So they are having a huge influence. Secondly, there are legal loopholes also. Frequent litigation delays and their enforcement, that is also one of the challenge. So these are the challenges that are put by these tech giants. Now, what is India's legal framework? See, this data monopolization, it is actually putting in front a very unique scenario. On one side, there is issue of data privacy. There are data privacy concerns. On the other side, it is leading to monopolization of the whole market. Now, in India, we have for the monopolization or competitive practices, we are having Competition Commission of India. It is a statutory body and it has been established in 2009 through the Competition Act of 2002. It is a quasi-judicial body under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So you should be knowing which ministry it belongs to. The purpose is very simple: to ensure fair competition, to provide a level playing field, prevent anti-competitive practices, protect consumers and promote free trade. So it is basically for the free trade, for the free markets, so that the consumers as well as the producer are having equal amount of level playing field, they are having equal amount of choices in the market. Then it is composed by chairperson plus 6 members. So it is 6 plus 1 composition, and the members are appointed by the central government only. So it is a quasi-judicial body, it is a statutory body. The members are appointed by the central government itself. The objectives of CCI are, first of all, eliminating anti-competitive practices, promoting fair competition, then consumer protection. Obviously, if the market is monopolistic, for example, only one player is there, then the consumer rights will be affected because they will not be having choices. So competition simply means that the consumers are having more choices, their rights are protected, the companies are more inclined towards serving the consumers rather than exploiting them. Then freedom of trade, and lastly competitive market environment it want to ensure. So these are the objectives of CCI. Now another body we are having, that is NCLAT, National Company Law Tribunal Act. It was proposed in 1999 by the Iradi Commission and it is operational since 2016. It is again a quasi-judicial body and again it is a statutory body. Why? Because it is provided under Companies Act of 2013, the new Companies Act that we came up in 2013, and it is under section 410. Now its objective is to resolve corporate dispute efficiently because it is a company law appellate tribunal, ensuring transparency and accountability in corporate governance and insolvency. The composition is very simple. It consists of a chairperson along with judicial and technical members. Now what are the functions? First function is to resolve the corporate law disputes, for example resolving company law related conflicts. Then next is merger and amalgamations, approve corporate restructuring processes, then insolvency and bankruptcy cases, handling cases under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, then operation and mismanagement, addresses the shareholder grievances, then appellate tribunal for CCI. It hears appeals against the Competition Commission of India rulings. So whatever appeals we are having from the Competition Commission of India, they go to this NCLAT. Now how it has emerged? Now what are the other issues? Under the legislature, based on the recommendations of the B.N. Krishna Committee of 2017, which highlighted the key data protection concerns and laid the foundation for this legislation, it empowers the individuals with control over their personal data. It restricts corporate and government surveillance with exception for the national security and public interest. It is about Data Protection Act that we are having. So this act was on the basis of B.N. Krishna Committee, and its objective was to empower the individuals to control their data. It also restricts the government as well as the corporates regarding the surveillance with exception to national security and public interest. Then what are the key provisions here? One is data localization. Data localization simply means whatever data is of the Indians, that should be stored in the Indian borders only. So it will regulate the cross-border data transfers. Then obligation of data fiduciaries. It mandates responsible data handling by the organizations. Next is right of data principles. It grants individuals the right to access, correct and erase their data. Lastly, it also is having regulations with respect to children's data processing. So it imposes stricter guidelines on handling minors' personal data. So these are the key features of the Data Protection Act of our country. Now, lastly, we come to what are the challenges that we are facing with respect to these tech giants monopolizing the data part. The first of all is that there is lack of data-centric provisions. The Competition Act of 2000, it actually does not deal explicitly with the data-driven monopolies. It is basically dealing with the price-driven monopolies. So the market power is now going beyond pricing. Data dominance is based on data aggregation, not price control. So price control is no more the major factor for monopolizing any market. Data is becoming a new parameter on which the markets are being monopolized. So our Competition Act is lacking any specific provision for this thing. There are amendments that are required to introduce the data monopolization as a criteria for addressing this market dominance. Next is regulatory gaps. The Act does not require data sharing agreements or separation of integrated services, limiting competition. So there is the data sharing agreements are not there. So that is also a problem for us. Next is coordination deficit. Coordination deficit between the Competition Commission of India and the Data Protection Board is there. It is also weakening our oversight on the overlapping concerns. For example, data sharing within the same company and data sharing with the other companies. For example, Meta, it is having various platforms. WhatsApp is there, Facebook is there, then they are having Instagrams also. So WhatsApp data was being shared with the Facebook and Instagram, but WhatsApp data is not shared with any other platform. For example, Twitter, or for example, Twitter means the formerly Twitter or X right now, or with respect to Telegram also. So these are losing business because the data is not being shared with them. So it is monopolizing the data, whatever data the WhatsApp is having. So there is a lack of coordination between the Data Protection Board and the Competition Commission of India. Next is, what can be the way forward for us? So the way forward is provided by whatever the regulations the European Union and other countries are having. The European Union has integrated the competition law with the Digital Markets Act and GDPR, and it has helped in creating a framework that tackles data exploitation and anti-competitive practices. So on these lines, we should be also having some kind of reforms in our data protection, as well as tackling the anti-competitive practices of the market. Now we are in a position to attempt the mains answer writing. So there are two questions that are visible on your screens. You can attempt these questions and you can post them in the comment box. So thank you very much. I hope that this discussion would have been helpful for you. Thank you.